Okay, I'm sorry.
You got it.
Thank you. I'll become an expert on this. So yeah, at the beginning, so Rafaela, you come and you're used to this. You're not surprised by this. I mean, she's been there already for a few weeks, and you know how she is. You know, you've always, taken care of her. And even when she was in the other apartment, like you'd often go see her. You used to go into the city, help her with the housekeeping, help her like kind of organize herself a little bit. Sometimes, maybe you were the one who helps her with the bills and organizes everything, kind of like her assistant, because she really depends on other people to like help her out. Um, um, until she realizes that, she's going to be independent and she's going to take care of herself. She's going to stop, depending on other people. And that's her realization at the end. So when you come in and you say, "Are you all right?" But, you're not surprised. "Are you all right?" Like you're checking. Okay. Make sure you're okay. You're alive. Okay. No crisis. All right. And then she'll say, "What time is it?" And you say, you continue. 1:30 a.m. 1:30, Miss. 1:30 a.m. 1:30 in the morning. 1:30. 1:30 a.m. Yeah, because you know it's late. You know she's waiting for this clown, and it's like, you're reminding her how late it is. It's 1:30 a.m. And then Miss Margaret, like maybe you're trying to suggest, like maybe you should go to bed and stop waiting for him, but you won't directly say that. Like, when you tell her what time it is and you see how she's having nightmares, she should be in her bed resting, not here waiting for this clown. And this is what you're thinking of. Okay, so this is what's going to happen at the beginning. So when you come out, this is what you see. Margaret, you are having these nightmares, and the story is going to start. All of you guys are going to start from when you were little. Just a quick story of your life, and then how you got to this point in time right now. Okay, and love it. You were coming from. She's out in the Hamptons, so it's a long ride. Did you take the train? Did you take a helicopter? Did you drive? Why were you late? You told her that you were late because, you had a client. Is it true? Is it not true? Were you screwing the secretary? And that's why you're late. And that's why, whatever you were doing before you got here, whatever it is. Did you go to the bar and were you hanging out and having some drinks? Did you just come out of a motel room? I don't know. Or whatever it was, or maybe you are working late and you were trying to catch up. Um, her papers, what happened with her papers? You know that you got to take them to her. Did you really intend to take them, or were you so careless about them that you were not going to do anything? Um, then and perhaps you think you would get away with it if you don't take them. You think that you can postpone a little longer, maybe in your mind. And then, when you start postponing things in these cases, sometimes, changes everything, and then they have to go back again and restart it. So what was your intention behind? So you choose not bringing these papers, these documents.
Yeah, I'm thinking that I got distracted. Well,
But you'll tell us. You're going to tell us in the story, not right now.
okay.
Because you're going to surprise all of us. So this is like getting an insight to the mind of somebody else. Like we really don't, and it's and because we really don't know anybody. But for us as characters, that'll give us an idea more of who the other character we're playing with. I think I kind of like that because it'll give us an idea of who this person is and how much you do know or you don't know about them. You'll find out. They're still going to have things they're not going to say. If there's something that you want to really hide about yourself, you won't say it. Okay. So I guess you'll tell us a lot of things, especially what's going to help all of us in to play these roles and to connect, because that's the most important thing as characters, especially on stage. There has to be such a solid connection that you can just like you play off of each other, and if the feeling is there, and if it's so spontaneous that you you get to a point after, you know all your lines and you worked at that, like you naturally know what that, what's next. Okay, so if you know each other that well and you feel comfortable with each other, then this will, I think, it'll make more dynamics in the play. And then we could, discover more about our characters. Like you're writing your own little biography right now. Who wants to go first? Okay. Should I start or should I mention? All right, let's say I'm going to write a number here from 1 to 3. So whoever guesses this number goes first. Okay. All right. Ina, what number do you think I wrote?
3.
Kathleen? You could repeat whatever they said,
Oh, the number 2.
What is it?
2.
Okay. And what about you, Brian?
I was gonna say 2, but I go with 1.
Two.
Oh no.
Kathleen, you're first, Brian, you're second.
My intuition said 2.
Yeah, so that makes you second. And then Ina, you're third, okay? All right, so we'll take about, if it's going kind of too long, I'll kind of like measure it anywhere between 5-10 minutes. If it's going way beyond 10 minutes, I'm going to start. If you see this, that means bring it to an end, okay? Bring it to a closing.
Okay.
And start when you were really little, when you were home, and your first memory as a child. All right, and where you were born, what country, how did you meet the other characters, how did you get to this house? All right, thank you. Let's go. You're writing your biography. And you're
Okay.
talking this, I'm sorry. In your mind, you decide who you're talking to. Could be anybody.
Okay. So who's going to start, Brian or me?
You.
Me,
That's-
okay, good. So I was born in Europe, in Budapest, Hungary. And of course, as a little child, you have all your scary situations, like, my parents got divorced and my sister got sick. So for me, it was kind of an escape to get into arts and music and fine arts and theater. So at a very young age, like age 5, I started acting. And first grade, I started to organize a theater company with the kids in the neighborhood. And so basically that was my escape, from the scary reality, of my parents' divorce, the sickness of my sister, and all that scary situation. So that was my escape. Instead of drinking or drugs, I just got involved in theater and literature and fine arts and music. So that was my escape. And my parents were very conservative, and they wanted me to something, very down to earth. My dad is a history professor, my mother economist. They said, you cannot do this kind of work. You have to get serious and make a living. So then I went on and to the university. I got a PhD in art history, and then I got 2 master's degrees, literature. So when I came here at a very young age, just when I was working on my doctoral thesis, I met my husband in the library. I was doing research. Happened to be an American citizen. So I got here. So I started teaching art history at SUNY and CUNY, and that I got involved in acting work. And so then I ended up doing it full time. So I had to quit my job as an assistant professor. And so that's where I am now, basically.
I love that story. Now, is this your life, or is it Margaret's life, or is it a combination of bringing
It's
you
very connected
Very
because you see, yeah, Margaret is also very much involved in arts. You know, I studied fine arts and you know, painting, and I got involved in that. You know, being an artist, and as I said, as I come from this conservative environment, my parents thought I should make a living and not to be an artist. So that happened.
And Margaret, your parents, and I understand that you have both you taken from your life and Margaret's life, and
Yeah.
right. So Margaret,
The only difference is that instead of doing drugs and drinking, I just escaped right to the arts. So I think that's a better situation. I never got involved in alcohol and drinking. I just escaped to the arts, to theater, music, and fine arts. So and literature.
What makes you so sophisticated, and you're very knowledgeable, and you love the art, and so so as Margaret, what kind of painting did you used to do, and are you still doing paintings, or
Yes,
what?
I do. Yeah, I do. Yes.
What
You
is the
know,
medium you use?
mostly abstract painting,
Mhm.
but I did other things as well. Yeah.
You do sculpting, or
I did that too. Yeah.
okay. Do you have your work in the house?
I
Did you
have
sell
some.
work?
Yeah, like if you, I don't, you probably can't see it behind me. This is a cutout, you know, like a Maltese cutout, but it's all white on white. So you may not, it's a big canvas behind me, but I don't think you can really see that.
But is
It's
that something you created?
yes, it's a large scale cutout in a white canvas, and I cut out this white, you know, paper, and it looks nice, I think, during the day, but you may not see it right now.
But Margaret,
But
where did you present it? Where did you exhibit that? What did you do with it? This
no, it's just sitting in
Right.
the apartment. You know, I was told, why don't you sell it? I said, if a buyer comes, I will be more than happy to sell it, and I can make a new one. But it's a large scale, a white and white. It's a big canvas.
Maybe
And
it's a picture and you show it to us. I'd love to see it.
yeah, I don't know. I may make some good pictures so I can give it to you. But as right now, it doesn't really show well in the background.
And then also, Margaret, like when you were little, when you were studying art and music and theater, what did you want to do when you grow up? Or you like, what did you say to yourself that you're going to be when you grow up?
Yeah, you see, there is a conflict there because you want to, you know, you want to be an artist, you want to be a performer. At the same time, you think, oh, it would be nice to have a family. But sometimes there's a conflict, you know. So you are not the housewife type, you know. There's some women who just, like, I had friends at high school, we graduated, they got immediately married, they had 2 children, and they just stayed home, and that was their life, you know. So I had a different personality. I was more involved in acting and painting and kind of stuff. So guys, they rather look for a woman, you know,
Right.
who cooks well and cleans or whatever.
I know exactly, and I know that that's who Kathleen is, and I know that that's who Margaret is, and what she wanted to continue to be like. But at some point, she changed. At some point, you changed, and you got married, and you had 2 boys.
Yes.
And at one point you went to Latin America. So you met your husband, you said you met your husband in the library. So, and he's from Latin America.
Yes.
Uruguay, I believe, or I believe it's Uruguay, one of the wealthy countries in Latin America. And so how did you meet, and what made you decide to give up your life and your dreams to be a star, an artist, to get married and dedicate yourself to him? And, you know, at the beginning, he didn't have a lot of money, you didn't have a lot of money. So what did you do together, and what made you decide to give that up?
Well, I think all young women, they have this dream, you know, to have a family, and that's how Margaret got involved. But it didn't really work out too well because, you know, she's an independent woman, and
I'm
also,
sorry, can you talk as first person? Me, I am Margaret.
Yeah.
I am an independent woman. Thank you.
okay, yes. So that's what happens with Margaret. You know, I have two boys, but at the end, there is a conflict between me being an artist and an independent woman and being a mother. So somehow they got a little bit alienated, both Artie and Louis. They got, you know, alienated from me because I also had to live my own life, you know.
Yeah.
Margaret is not a housewife.
Yeah. Did you dislike doing, especially at the beginning when you guys didn't have a housekeeper, did you dislike doing housekeeping and, you know, cleaning and changing diapers, or did you actually enjoy that time of your life with when the boys were young, even though it was hard? What was it like for you when you were a young bride and having
Well,
children?
I think I had some other dreams, being an artist and not necessarily, as I said, being a housewife, you know.
But why did you stay married? Why did you stay being a housewife, and why did you stay?
Because you love your husband, you love your children, you know, so you have to compromise.
And how do you feel about
It didn't work
compromising?
out.
How do you feel about that?
Well, what can you say? This is life, and my life goes on. And you know, I'm an artist, and at the end, I will end up to have an exhibit of my paintings, and that's important. And even some kind of reconciliation with Artie as well,
How do you
and
plan to do that?
Louis too.
Yeah. How do you plan to do that?
As I said, we have to compromise, you know. So
How? What do you want to compromise? How do you plan to get, you know, your relationship back with your children, and and yourself? How are you going to um, give yourself that gift of allowing yourself to be the artist you were meant to be? What is do you have a plan or no?
yes, that's the power of love. You see, love is the greatest power in the universe. So basically, that should be your priority. You say, yes, I love to be an artist, but I have unconditional love for my children. So we just have to put everything together.
And it is very conflictual. It is, because it's these two loves. And sometimes, you know, you feel guilty if you go one way, and you feel that you're being untrue to yourself. So that is a huge conflict. Is that why you get depression? And is that why, like,
Of course,
sometimes you want to just numb yourself with?
exactly.
And do you go, like, what doctors do you see?
Well, Margaret, you mean? Well,
Margaret, yeah.
yes, you know, I have to see the shrink, and unfortunately, they are not always the best people to get advice from. You see, they want you to be a permanent patient. They don't want to really help you, because if they help you, then you know they stop paying them.
Yeah, exactly.
There's
They
no
don't wanna get
profit in the
better.
cure.
Yeah.
Do you hide? Do you try to hide all of these feelings from your children? And how long have you been feeling this conflict?
I think you feel, I feel it from the very beginning, because there is a conflict. You know, I want to be a good mother, but I also want to have my own life and I want to be an artist. And, when we are somehow drifting away with my husband, then, there are women who just close their eyes. So, my husband is fooling around, but I am a different person. I don't tolerate that. So
Did
that's
you find out? How did you find out he was like? How did you guys drift apart? You were so in love. You had such a perfect
true.
marriage. You had everything. How did
Yeah.
you drift apart?
Well, eventually you grow apart, and then he's goes and have his flings. You find it out, no?
When did you find that out?
Well, I think not immediately. The marriage was very good at the beginning, but the boys are getting bigger, and then you realize he's having these trips and everything, and he's
Were you
fooling around.
lonely? Was he making you feel lonely
Of course, yeah.
and loved?
Yes, you just,
And
it's
that-
not the same. You don't get the same attention as at the beginning of the marriage. So you see that something is not right there.
And did you resent that?
Of course.
And so then what did you do to get your mind busy? I mean, you had a lot of events to go to. What did you do?
Yes, you have a social life, and and then you get involved with this other guy,
Who
the
you get?
lawyer, who eventually turns out to be, a scumbag. But he was a very charming guy. So at the beginning, you love the attention. Again, you don't get attention from the husband. So of course, you are impressed by this guy who is a player and he's a charmer. So you didn't realize that you're not the only woman. He's doing it to all the other women.
How did he seduce you? How did he get your attention? And yeah, how did he get your attention? Well,
He's very charming, and is complimenting you and telling you that you are so beautiful and you are the love of his life and stuff like that. But I said he tells it to all the other women.
did you believe that at the beginning?
Of course, yeah. All women believe it. They love to believe it. And then you find he's a Casanova, and
Yeah. Why do you depend on him so much?
because I feel only the husband is traveling and having affairs. So of course it's great to get attention.
Do you have other men that you've had affairs with, or is this the only?
No. I just flirting other guys, but this was the one, I got involved because he was so charming and
Did you fall in love with him, or
yes, yeah.
what was it about him besides being charming that why are you so attached to him? Why didn't you see at the beginning who he really was? Why?
Because he's very deceiving, he's telling you
What
that
allowed you to be deceived? What about you allowed yourself to not see the truth until it was like too late?
because you are in denial, and your husband is not paying as much attention to you as he used to, and now this guy comes and around and he's telling you that you are so wonderful and you're so special, and everybody loves to hear that. He knows exactly what a woman wants to hear, and that's what he's telling them.
Have you seen him flirt with other women? Have you caught him in anything?
A little bit, but he's very, very shrewd. So
But
he
did you
knows.
realize what he was doing, or you
Not
were?
at the beginning, later, yes. When he goes out with the secretary for dinner, and then you realize it's all these lies, basically,
How did that make you feel?
Well, of course you feel betrayed because originally, I felt that this guy is really involved with me, and then I realized that he's a phony.
Did you think he was in love with you?
Yes, at the big, sure, because he keeps telling you, yeah.
Was that heartbreaking?
Yes, of course, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's cool. Okay. Did you plan a future with this guy? Was he living with you?
Well, we didn't know exactly what was going to happen. It was just at that point of my life, it was a great thing because the husband is traveling or fooling around, and then you have this guy who is telling you that how important you are. So we didn't really plan anything together.
Were you planning, like thinking that you'll be with him in the future, or
Maybe yes, maybe yes,
you had hopes?
yes,
Do you still love your husband after you were?
yes, of course.
You think about
Because
him?
yeah, we had 2 children together. Of course, we love each other, and I'm sure he loved me too. But as I said, we just somehow grew apart.
Do you regret?
Happened in many marriages.
Yeah. Do you regret what happened? And I mean, if you were to do things again, would you do things differently?
Absolutely, yes. I wouldn't get involved with this jerk, but at the same time, what can you do when the husband is fooling around? You don't want to tolerate that. So I assume what I would have done. I just, be independent and just go with my life and with my art, and that's it. And not to get involved with the guy who is, is a scumbag basically.
And before I let you go, why did you try to commit suicide? Why did you get
Yeah,
to?
because everything was, falling. My life is falling apart. The husband is with another woman. Then the boys are also being kind of alienated from me. Artie is siding with the father, and Louis has his own family. So you just feel abandoned by everybody you love, your husband, your children. And then the lover guy is also, turns out, to be a unreliable person. So it's a tough situation.
So you are struggling. You would you say, what would you say is your main struggle in this moment now? What do you?
It's abandonment, and loneliness.
Loneliness.
Yes.
And do you have a goal? Is there something? I mean, is your
I
goal?
think it's to survive, and I am a survivor. And as I said, again, you escape to the arts. You are an artist, you have a talent, so that's what you do. But eventually, I think after my husband dies, we get together with the 2 boys, because I think they will be somehow more understanding after that. After they lose their father, I'm the only parent they have, and so we get closer with the 2 boys.
So would you say your goal, your purpose is self-realization?
Yes.
Okay. And so when did you realize that this was it? Because you did try to commit suicide.
Exactly. After that, because Slim is coming to save my life, and then Artie is also becoming like a better son, because first he didn't even want me to stay in the house in the Hamptons.
Why not?
Excuse me?
Why did he not want you to stay with him?
Because he thought this is his house, and he has his own life, he has his friends, and he just wants to live his own life.
But do you feel
He's not
that?
a child anymore. He doesn't want the mother to be around.
But do you feel you have a right to this house? After all, you lived here for so long.
Exactly. That's what I said. That's my house too, especially since I lost my apartment on Fifth Avenue.
So your interest also was, of course, to regain the house and
Yeah.
And get some money, because you feel that is that one of your also objectives?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, and also to get closer to the 2 boys again, because we were, they were kind of alienated from me. So we want to get back together with the 2 boys. That's my family. The husband is dead. The lover boy, it turns out to be a scumbag. So then you have to have your 2 boys in your life, and and your art, and that's what it is. No, you're a mother, you're an artist, so you know.
That's beautiful. So you feel that you're after you come out of that depression, you actually realize that in order for you to have self-realization, you need to have conciliation with your sons,
Exactly. Yeah.
self too, also with yourself,
Yeah.
and get rid of the scumbag and
Exactly.
let the dead stay buried, right?
Yeah. Exactly.
And who's helping you? Who helped you?
Rafaela, she's supporting me.
What did she do? Like, what did she?
Well, she's always supporting me. She's a wonderful. We've been together for many years, and she knows what's going on. She's very smart, and she's very helpful.
And what are you learning now? Like, what did she teach you that's helping you to like?
Oh, a lot of things, Buddhism and wonderful things. She's a great person, Rafaela. Yeah.
Okay. And what books have you read?
Yeah, she gave me some wonderful books, in Hinduism. It's, I'm reading and learning. Yeah.
And who are your patron gods in the Hinduism? Who do you pray to?
Well, Buddha. And it's not about praying to God, it's the philosophy, that the attachment that you try to lose it, like, why I had this relationship, I realized I have to get rid of it in order to get forward in my life.
I like that. So Rafaela taught you how to connect to
Exactly.
the realm, to
Yeah.
they're all the same, Jesus, God in the universe, and all of these and the Buddha and all of these Hindu
Bodhi
Yeah.
tree.
yeah, they're all Lakshmi and all that. I mean, it's all the feminine and the masculine energies, right?
Yeah.
And then so you discovered this. So Rafaela helped you to discover this.
Absolutely, yes. She's wonderful. Yeah.
So this is your salvation. Like you feel like you had a
Yeah. Yes. She's
yeah,
very helpful. Yeah.
that's great. Okay, so and I guess maybe at some point I'll bring maybe like a few little books and maybe some of the music we can kind of listen to. I love the Hindu music. I love
It's beautiful.
yeah. So maybe we can play with that.
Good.
Well, I just thank you so much for this
Thank you.
and that's just really awesome. How do you feel after revealing yourself?
Oh, wonderful. Because, you have to be clear what your goals are in your life and how you go on, after husband is dead and the lover boy, is gone. So, this basically what's left is your children and your art. That's what I have to focus on.
That's great. And is that what you discovered about what was the main thing that you discovered about yourself?
Yeah, that I'm a survivor and
You're-
I don't have to depend on a man, either my husband or my boyfriend. I have you have to depend on yourself.
Right, because you were always depending on other people, right?
Exactly. Yeah, I was very needy and I wanted Dick to help me. And finally I realized he's a dick, so I have to get rid of him.
Chop it off.
Bobbit.
That's
That's so
what happened.
Right on Bobbit.
realize, yeah, that you have to you found your inner strength, it sounds like, right?
Exactly. Yes. Yes.
Wow, I love that. That's great. That's powerful. Like you stepped into your power.
Yes.
See,
Exactly.
you really stepped into your power.
Yes.
That's what we're all doing. That's what I'm working on too. Stepping into my
Exactly.
we're all in this. I admit it. I'm also in this journey, and yeah, leaving behind what needs to stay behind and
Yeah.
finding yourself. That's beautiful. And the last question about Mother Earth, Gaia, what do you feel is going on, and what needs to be done for our planet, for Mother Earth. What do you think you can do, and how do you relate, or how do you your character relating to the planet, Mother?
Well, you have to do your best as much as you can, and you have to connect with other people who are like-minded, and that's all you can do.
And what do you feel like the Earth? What do you feel is happening? Do you think we're going to destroy ourselves?
Well, there's a danger, but let's be optimistic, and all the good people should get together and work together and try to, do something. I mean, most people are not suicidal, so unfortunately, looks like the powerful people in the world, they try to destroy us. So but there are more people, I think, who are normal, so we have to get together somehow.
And what's one thing you will do if you get together with people of like-minded people? What's one thing you would do to say?
Well, we just have to take action as much as we can, and try to change the world, and also
How would you change the world?
inform everybody else. There are a lot of people who, they are not aware of what's going on in the world. They are too busy with their little everyday problems, and they are distracted. So we just have to help them, and we just have to enlighten people.
And I guess, did you come to this realization when you were hearing about that huge tsunami, that the Indian Ocean that devastated, just wiped
Yes, of
away
course.
villages and people in seconds?
Yeah.
How was your reaction to that?
Exactly. Yeah, that we have to do something, with the environment, and we just have to, as I said, we have to get together and spread, awareness, and wake up, everybody.
So yeah, so then that kind of, do you think that kind of made you, like, helped you wake up? And
Yes, exactly. Yes, you see what's going on in the world, and you see that you just cannot live like sleepwalking and doing drugs and drinking. It's not going to get you anywhere. You have to wake up, and you have to take action, and you have to be yourself, and depend on yourself, and not to try to depend on the husband who's fooling around, the boyfriend who's also fooling around.
that's wonderful that Rafaela was like
She's wonderful. Rafaela is great. Yeah.
feminine strength, like
Yes.
like the feminine.
Yes, and she's very spiritual also. Yeah, she's a wonderful character. Yeah. Yeah.
So it's like the feminine, they come together, and
Exactly.
we're strength in numbers, kind of like
Yeah.
help each other. So what she did to you, now you're going to go and help somebody else. Like,
Yeah.
make,
So I'm
make
very, very, very grateful that you changed her sex, She used to be a guy, now she's a woman.
When I received the script,
Yeah.
I thought, oh, I have to play a butler.
Yes.
Yeah, I love the idea. It just
Maybe this play is so avant-garde. I can just
Yeah.
play like a butler.
But
I thought
this
so.
whole change the world can come down to a citrus, providing the world with the citrus deficiencies that everyone's having, scurvy.
yeah, the scurry. Yeah, the people that are all scurry and then just peeling and
I'm just joking with them, but
it's
but-
really funny because
Catalina got disconnected.
oh no, oh she did. Oh my God. Let's see. Let's get her back here. All right, so you're gonna get.
I think it works well. It's changing the gender of the butler.
All right, thank you. I'm so glad you guys agree. I was
Because if it was a male butler, he may be able a protector, but not a connector on a. He's not necessarily gonna connect the same level of like.
Exactly, right? Exactly. Yeah, and that's yeah, it really makes sense. So, let's get her. It does make sense. And like yeah, I was trying to figure that out and then when I said, well, it's the feminine, it's a lot, with dealing with the feminine um power and strength. And women coming together are very powerful and they really help each other. And then what's going on today, it's like we're trying to calm down a little bit of this masculine energy and bring more of the feminine into the world, more light, more love. And that's more of the feminine side, there's the conflict between the yin and the yang. So that's great. I'm glad it works. Now, how do I get her back in?
I think she has to click the invite you sent. You might want to just call her,
Yeah,
call her mobile, and then just tell her to click back.
yeah. Let's see.
Just looking for my glasses.
Let me get a cup of water for me.
Yeah, so let's take like a 5-10 minute break and I'll get her back.
Okay.
So we'll get together like 8:10?
Yeah, 8-10.
10 past 10.
10 minutes, yeah.
Okay.
Mm. See. I need to let, where is, oh, okay, there he is.
I'm here. Where are the other people?
I'm trying to let him in. Okay.
Good. I see.
Oh, okay. And Ina, there she is. Unmute. Okay. She's on her way.
Sure.
Well, we're waiting for Ina to come. So the next one is going to be you, Brian.
Yeah.
And so you're going to go through the same exercise, and then start from when you were young, you're home, you know. You can, I love it that you take from yourself, like we did with Catherine. And then you just filter that into your character, whatever, you know, this character is like, whatever you can take from you, and it just makes it so much more natural. It's wonderful. So you'll tell us about your life when you were young, what you did, where you went to school, why did you become such a scumbag when you were little, or were you an altar boy or something like that, or were you religious, or you know, did you go to the synagogue? Were you, you know, what were you? I think probably, yeah, you know, from the synagogue. What was were your parents? Was your father? You said he was a businessman, a lawyer. Also, was your grandfather like um, um, a rabbi, or I don't know, whatever you want to, whatever you want to, or a priest, whatever you want to say that makes you who this person is, or I don't know. Okay, so is I'm trying to let her in. I hope I didn't lose her. Did you find this helpful, Catherine?
Yes.
Okay, good. Let me call our friend and see if she's trying to get in, because I don't see her here. Well, let me give her a few more minutes. I did say 10 minutes because I wasn't sure how long it's going to take. So let's give her a few more minutes. I think about a minute, because I did say 10 minutes. Okay. Did you discover something about your character, Kathleen?
Oh, yes, absolutely. You see, as I said, I was depending on the husband and the boyfriend. And so eventually I just have to find myself and be able, even probably have physical problems. You know, at the end, I show up in a wheelchair at the gallery opening, but emotionally, I become a stronger person.
Yeah, you break, but you break completely, total breakdown, but you know,
Yes.
you're going to get out of that wheelchair. That's just temporarily.
Yes.
I love what you said, that that you wanted to, that conflict,
Yeah.
being a mother and being an artist, and oh my God, how many of us go through that?
Exactly. Oh, look who's here.
Oh, she's here, yeah, and
Yeah.
unable to make decisions, you know. And I think that was one of her problems too, is that it's like,
Yeah.
was so indecisive, you know, and this is all her past. So then it's wonderful, and she finally becomes this, like a flower that blossom, even though she's like in a little wheelchair and she's broken. We know that this lady's gonna make it, you know. It's like
Exactly.
she's broken, but she gets, you know, the flowers bloom again, the grass grows again. You know, so that's the thing, you know, when we're given a second chance.
Yeah, I used to be in a wheelchair. I fractured my ankle and it took me a long time to get out of it. But that was also a great experience in my life, you know.
Yes.
We appreciate, you have to appreciate everything positive in your life.
Beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. And thank you for sharing your story.
Mm.
Okay, Mr. Dick Lovett, you scumbag. Oh, why do women love and hate you so much? I don't get it. I want to hear your story. So tell us, as the first person, Dick Lovett, using, of course, yourself, you know, the amazing Brian Mead. Mead, is that how you pronounce it? So you using your amazing self. All right, let me put you on the main screen here. Okay, thank you. I can't hear you. You got unmute. Let me see.
Yeah, I don't know why Brian is muted. I cannot really change that.
I got it. Can you hear me?
Good.
Thank you.
Okay.
Good.
Yeah, I grew up in public school, and there might have been, you know, in my family history, my father, his father died young. His father was a successful business person, but there was a lot of instability in my household, and maybe I had some high intelligence, but some learning disabilities, and it caused me to enjoy acting out and getting the attention of the classroom, the school, which girls like the bad boy. And it's a self-perpetuating process. It's an addictive process because you come to take that on as who you are, and that you feed off of that it's that cycle. So, you know, like little things turned into, you know, I pushed the clock up 15 minutes, tell the teacher, oh, Mr. Worsley, it's time to get out of class. And then 30 students are wandering through the class, through the hallways. And then, you know, I have to write 600 times. I will not touch the clock. I got a job at a movie theater. I helped a lady in a wheelchair into the theater. But I left the money unattended, even though I had someone watching it. And the manager didn't like me. So I noticed when she fired me, she had an answering machine that was just like the one I had at home. And I thought, I wonder if it has the same default change message that mine does. So I called and changed the outgoing message to, hello, you've reached Carmike 840 Movie Theaters. and little things that became just class clown things. They put me in with the juvenile delinquents up until 8th grade. So I was around the really bad kids and I gained an appreciation for understanding the law, and like I wanted to be a lawyer. I also went through, then when I got through high school, I straightened up enough to not, you know, get into trouble with the legal system. We had I wanted to be we had CGI, we had short film, we had a television production facility, but I never took that as a career path. So I got a 4-year degree. I was going to go to law school. I flipped houses, and eventually, dude, everything crashed. Well, even though that wouldn't have counted in our timeline, because of the 2004. We're talking about 2004, the tsunami, even though that was 2008. We just say that it was a downturn. And at that, it was like a recreation of myself. I took care of family with Parkinson's and Alzheimer's, my grandparents, so we didn't lose property. I came back to the city with nothing after having been in jet setting. And then I just became like very creative and bootstrapping. And I became involved with a Palm Beach heiress who was an alcoholic and would, she said, I want a ring. And I said, I want a unicorn. And she bought herself a ring and changed my Facebook page to engaged. She used to take Ivanka to her country club because they wouldn't give Donald a membership to the Bath and Tennis. I I didn't really feel like I was taking advantage of these women, but at the same time, they had their weakness. I had mine. We were codependent. And then I became involved in the art world with a relationship. And the art world, traveling to Europe with royalty and seeing the greatness of history and next to the people whose families that that took me from my little low level, like lower or to middle class life to the circles that I never dreamed I would be in. And that's where I gained my appreciation for the art world.
And how did you feel when you were in these higher circles? Then you said wow, you never imagined that you would make it.
I felt like the court jester, and I would make jokes, and the girls in those circles and worlds, they would say, "I've never met anybody like you before," and I would just smile and say, "I know you haven't."
You like to be a jokester. And you liked the attention of all the girls since you were little? Is that why?
Yeah.
And when you were younger and you were Dick, when you were in school and you became a juvenile delinquent, what happened? How bad were you that you became a juvenile delinquent, and where did they put you?
It was just enough of like little things like water torture.
Were you a
Like
bully?
no, I was like nobody. I was the skinny kid that people were afraid of because I learned to act, especially when I went to and I was with around the criminals and with the kids who were in the bad school. I learned to put on a face and a persona of "don't fuck with me."
Like the bad boy face, even though you were skinny, you were
The
like,
really, really bad boy face. Like I have nothing to lose. So that was a survival mechanism.
did you believe that you were a bad boy, or were you afraid?
No,
Or
no, I didn't believe I was. I believed that I always worried like how like I'm just portraying this to like as a survival mechanism. I mean, there was a guy in my class that was on the FBI's most wanted list at like 12, 13, like really bad people. And so like it was just survival. But being a skinny little white kid in a school with kids who had committed homicide, all these bad kids, and I went from being a class clown. So it was just survival mechanism. I never believed I never had any intention of hurting anybody but you have to make people believe that you will.
did these guys liked you? Did they believe you were like them? Did they ask you to prove yourself, or
They invited me to their house to when they would sell drugs, and they would want to ride my motorcycle, and they would give. So I was like, no, the one white kid who had a pass or an exception into this world or some respect, and then I was shrewd, and I would have the video game arcade keys to the video games, like, and I at 14, and I would dump the tokens into the bag, and I'd pay off the people at the go-kart place and the video arcades, and I would sell all my friends. At first it became, oh, let's play games all day. Oh wait, we need food to eat too. Hey, let's sell tokens to that kid over there for $8 while he wants to pay $4 from the machine. And then, oh, let's pay off the people that work here so that we can keep doing this. And so, and that's where I loved Scorsese films, and it became full circle. And at some point I learned that there's so much more in life that is legitimate business than being that. But that's what I was surrounded by in 7th grade.
And Dick, it seems like you never outgrew that because you continue being that way. Do you think so?
I continue. I can carry that into a gray area of not violating the law and trying to keep everything above board, but sometimes with maybe my shortcomings, my disability, my lack of paying attention, not filing paperwork on time, or that I inadvertently maybe don't get the things done that are necessary, and I lie about to cover up because I'm ashamed.
Right. Yeah. And so you got used to, you became like a professional liar because, Dick, is that it seems to me that you lie your way through everything. And you're so smart and you're such a good lawyer that, a lot of times you get away with things. Is that true? Especially with women?
I see it I see it through Dick as it's better to beg for forgiveness than ask for permission.
Yeah. Wow, professional liar, but you're so charming that somehow, people let you get away with it, right?
And denial is not only a river in Egypt. The truth is in gray areas.
Yeah. So this is your philosophy of life.
That's Dick. Yeah.
It's Dick, of course. Yeah. Truth is in the gray areas. Okay. And so what about your your childhood? I mean, were you a happy child, or what happened with your parents and your grandparents? Did you say your grandfather died when he was young?
My father's father died before I was born. I had a strong grandmother, strong, I would say very similar to, I could relate it to the situation here with a strong like female support structure that kept me from becoming what could have been far worse, like being around the people that I was around that kept pushing me up to like maybe become a lawyer or become to want to achieve great and believe that I could do great things and good things.
So was your grandmother your savior, not your mother? Did you have a conflict with your mother?
Not a conflict. It's just my grandmother was a strong-willed woman from during the World War II. She worked in radio school. She dated one of the Hershey's, like from the Hershey's. I told her she would have had little Hershey's kisses if they got married. She kind of like had some of this only experiences, and her brothers and sisters were from like the country, and they didn't really have the experiences that she had, or that I somehow got out of that were beyond our little, like, where we were born.
Were you born like in the old country or in New York, or when were your parents from the old country or were your parents from here?
My parents were first generation here.
Okay.
I mean that, or I would say my grandparents were first generation. Their parents would have come from Germany and from Italy and
Okay. Now, my question is, I mean, I see that there's a lot of conflict in you because you come from you come from a good solid family. It seems like you had a pretty leveled childhood. You were, of course, the clown, and you're a survivor. For sure you were a survivor. And you had this strong grandmother who was really like the epitome of power and respect and the feminine quality at its best. So how come is it that you just cannot respect women? Why are you such a womanizer? Why why do you disrespect women so much? Like, you think that anybody that walks in front of you, you just grab and you grab and you grab and you think they're all there free for you. And what makes you think?
Maybe because it's because fear of commitment is so much more than Dixie cup dating.
But where does that fear come from inside your heart? And like, why are you so fearful of committing? What happened? Do you have some kind of trauma or something?
Like maybe like she said before, just fear of abandonment, of if putting all my eggs in one basket, not diversifying.
But were you abandoned by your mother at any point?
No,
So why is it
but
that your grandmother sounds like the one who took care of you most?
it just mostly, I guess I'm thinking just from the point of a relationship, that any one thing could happen. Something tragic could happen. That person could be gone. Something like, it's so fragile that to be so invested in somebody, in one person. Um,
You mean like your mother? Like, you don't want to be invested in just your
no,
mother?
no, no. I mean, in a, you're saying with relationships with women, that just one after the other, that if I were to be too invested in one person, that would leave me too vulnerable.
And why are you afraid of being vulnerable? I mean, Dick, you're a successful guy. You can get whatever you want. You're shrewd. Well, why are you afraid of being vulnerable? Why are you afraid of committing into a relationship? I mean, not all men are like that. Some men are very committed. And
Because of the ultimate pain that can come if from loss.
did that happen to you at some point? Did you fall in love? Did you have a girlfriend? And did somebody really did a number on you that you would just broke your heart and you just traumatized you and you decided that's it? I'm not going to be like this anymore.
Maybe at some point when I was young, I had a friend that was when I was 13, that was playing with a gun and was killed after school, and that was like traumatized everybody in my whole school.
Who was this friend? A boy or a girl?
A guy, he was my best friend since like I was growing up at like 5 years old, and he said, "Bring my brother's rap tape back." I said, "Okay, okay." And then like I got a call at night. He's like, "Oh, he's gone." I'm like, "What do you mean he's gone?" They're playing with a gun after school, so.
Shot himself.
No, the other, shot by the other friend playing with a gun.
Shoot, where did they get the gun from?
It was in the father's desk drawer. They were playing with it the week before, and it wasn't loaded, and he loaded it for a weekend trip. And they pulled it out on Monday after it had been loaded for a weekend trip. The father forgot it, and he just pointed it at him. And so
Did you see it when it happened, or no?
no, but I went there after it happened, and there were like thousands of kids. This kid was like one of my best friends, but he was like the guy that everybody wanted to be, cute guy that every girl wanted to date. Like, he was one of my closest friends that I had known since I was five years old. And I would point out that was probably traumatic, and like one of the major differences that in my growing up that my brother and sister didn't have.
how many siblings do you have?
One brother, one sister.
How do you get along with them, Dick?
I get along with them now well, but for a long time, it was arduous because they didn't necessarily see that. They didn't understand the path that I was taking, my interest in art or my interest in other things outside of a stable middle class environment in a cookie cutter community.
So did you feel kind of like, did they make you feel like an outsider? Did they make you feel like you weren't good enough? Especially if they criticize you? And so, we could get very vulnerable when our own family doesn't believe in us. Like, there's something that you wanted to do, your art, and do you feel that they were pulling you back, so you became resentful?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that has something to do with like this feeling of hiding your feelings, proving yourself? You think something
Mhm.
like that is what's going on with you?
Yeah, but now everything's working, and I smile and make jokes about how that they didn't believe me, or that they thought I was being foolish, and I just give them like lighthearted jokes. And then they act like, oh, we never doubted, but they did.
They did. Did they like treat you bad? Were there
No, it
moments
was
that
just
It was just
did they say,
distance and like persona non grata a little bit.
are you a sensitive guy?
Yeah. I don't show it I don't show it as much.
So do you think that maybe do you feel that deep inside? I mean, you find that you are vulnerable and you hide this vulnerability. Is that why Dick behaves the way he does and
Yeah.
so nonchalant? But because he's so afraid of maybe Dick is so afraid of making commitment because you feel that you're going to lose somebody and then you're nobody without somebody who really loves you or believes in you, you think? Were you ever in love?
Yeah.
With who?
Actually, in high school, my first love of my life, and um, I hated the guy that dated her before her, and now he's a writer. His family owned Piedmont Airlines, and we're friends. We work on a writing project together. He worked on a Haley Joe Osment project, and but I hated him. We became friends 10 years later. After that, a college 2 or 3 year relationship with someone that was going to med school, and I was going to go to law school, and pulled in different directions. And then in New York, the relationships got really crazy because that's the kind of the gist of New York. So
How crazy? How so?
crazy, like dating a soprano that's supposed to be singing at Carnegie in a couple days, but she's passed out on her bar stool at Russian Tea Room, and she's cut off. She's taking Ambien and drinking martinis, and she's falling on the steps of Carnegie, and the security guards are picking her up off the steps. They don't see the poster above her head.
That it's her. Are you attracted to like these kind of crazy women that are just losing it? It sounds like, because I mean, it seems to be.
I got a savior complex.
Yeah, I think so, right?
And an addiction to the thrills of.
Do you think and they're so vulnerable that you can do whatever you want with them, Because I mean, I think you're a bit of
I
a
felt like that they weren't going to leave or go because they were so vulnerable too.
and you want them to depend on you, is that it? For
Yeah,
sex, for like this is the only way that you can feel like you're a big man, is that what it is? Like
it feels like that if they have such problems, and I'm there to help them take care of theirs, that they can help me take care of mine. However, that is a recipe for a toxic environment. You don't realize. I didn't realize till later, but as Dick, I believe that he thinks that he's helping people, but he doesn't see that his selfishness. He believes that he's self-righteous.
right. And these feeble women and these really women that are broken, they make you feel righteous, right? Is that what it is? And
You see, he sees the weakness. He sees his strength, and his ability to help. Like it's like when I'm kicked out of the house the other night. It's like I'm the help. I'm help. You're kicking out the help. I'm helping you. I'm.
So how
I-
dare
How
some,
dare you?
yeah,
Like I am your savior.
yeah. And you really believe you are her savior, right?
Yeah.
And that's happened before too with the other Carnegie woman, right? I mean, has that happened several times, right?
Carnegie and the Palm Beach
On Beach, yeah.
heiress. Um,
And you like
and
money too, right?
I actually said no. It's not worth it. It's not worth it at all. I cut it off. I put them in rehab, and I moved out of the Park Avenue apartment up to Washington Heights into a 1 bedroom rental to get away from the insanity eventually, because there's in that world I saw so much control.
Who was controlling who?
I mean, whoever has the most money at the country club, the ones that won't give Donald Trump a membership. I mean, when Donald Trump couldn't get a membership at the country club, Bath and Tennis, when he built Mar-a-Lago, he mailed everyone a copy of Look Who's Coming to Dinner with Sidney Poitier.
Right.
But it's the people I've met who know later, they were like, "Oh, you've been to the Viper's Nest." I'm like, "Yeah."
So you really fought to get up there. Excuse me. You play with these guys, but like you want to outsmart them. Is that what it is?
No, I just liked being a fly on the wall for a minute, and then I don't want to be a part of that world. And
You want to be a part of your own world. Is that why you don't have a lot of friends, Dick? You're usually on your own, right? I mean, you know
I
a lot.
have a lot of acquaintances, but they've all with their families and their marriages and their kids that we've lost touch.
Okay. But you don't have a best friend. I mean, you don't have buddies that like.
Yeah, I would say very close childhood friends. The only people that I talk to, that I text every day, 2 people, and and close acquaintances that through work as an attorney or through projects that I work on.
And your life as an attorney, do you like what you do? You like your work?
No, I hate it.
Why? Why do you hate it? You help people
I like
and you make
the
money.
that's but that's just means to an end. It's not there. The only enjoyment is the money, and the arduous process of making it is grueling, and it's not what I thought it was going to be when I set out to be an attorney. And so what I really uh, would like is the arts. I would like to be an entertainment lawyer. I'd like to be an art lawyer, but that is a very it's a very insular world. It's very hard to gain entry, I think, into some of those circles to become to become an art lawyer or an expert or
Because you never really had those connections. Your father was basically what kind of
here's this like a an office supply salesman, and a professional business to business sale of business supplies or accounting supplies.
okay, so basically all business. And they forced you to do law? I mean, was that the thing? Your family had to.
No, I chose to because I saw the power of the knowledge of being able to get myself out of trouble when I was in trouble. When in my youth, and I would read the law books on the back of the classroom when we would have English assignments, and there were Chaucer didn't capture my imagination at the time, but Crimes Against Nature in North Carolina did. Man and a woman married can't have sex outside of a missionary position. In 7th grade, I said something is not right with this, and the fact that they were called Crimes Against Nature, And so I would read that. I just read statutes, and I found power in knowledge, in the knowledge.
That's a good part of you. It's like, that's something you keep hidden, don't you?
Yeah.
Higher sensitivity. Why didn't you just decide to go into the art field? Why didn't you just decide to, become either an entertainment lawyer or an attorney of, with art dealers? I mean,
Because I was set out to go to. I'd already given up on entertainment when I got a 4-year business degree with the intention of going to law school. But then I started buying property and selling property and renting property to professional athletes, furnishing properties, staging properties. I got a call from Beverly Hills Sports Council after a 3-day listing on Craigslist, and I didn't call it back. I thought my friends were messing with me. I had a 3-day drinking binge, and I finally Googled Beverly Hills Sports Council, and they represent half of baseball. And the one agent represents like the top 10 like players in baseball. So he's like, yeah, Josh would like to rent your house, but $3,500 a month. Can you do 3,000? He just signed a $4.5 million deal. I'm like, yes. When you want the lease to end? He's like, September. I'm like, baseball goes in October or November. He said, we're not worried about that. Well, they made it to the World Series that year, and then I charged them another $3,500 for 2 weeks when they had needed it. So that money motivated me to forget law school, because I made more money. I made more money in a couple weeks, in a month, than I would have owed in 3 years of law loans. And I'm dealing with the law. So at that point, it was like, I mean, that's going for my personal, not from Dick being a lawyer. Oh, I'm losing your audio.
I'm sorry. Okay. Yeah. So that's yeah. Okay. So that's your personal, yeah. But I guess it would relate to Dick being liking money. I mean, he knows a good deal, like he'll smell a good deal from blocks away. Right. Like you smell vulnerability from blocks away, because this is easy. The things that are easy for you, you don't want to work too hard to do anything, right? It sounds like you like whatever's easy. And you don't want anybody dominating you. You want to be in charge, right? You're the man. Okay. Very interesting. Now I understand why you're such a a player, such a ladies' man. Like, and you don't like what about if people like these women come to you brokenhearted, or they try to do something to get back or get even? Did anybody like do something horrible to you to get even for being so mean to them, or for breaking somebody's heart? What was the worst experience? Because you seems to be like you do it all the time. Did you ever do it in your law firm for groping women?
No, but through working on connections and things, there were allegations that weren't true, that were about me, and my stuff being held hostage in a co-op basement when I needed my clothes and things. And you're not getting, because I put her in rehab, you're not getting my stuff. You'll just sell my Chanel bags. I'm like, I don't care about your Chanel bags. Just give me my clothes. And so if you don't pay this much money by blah, 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 because she set the apartment on fire one night, and the NYPD comes in, and she was making eggs, but she had taken the smoke detector battery out. Well, the place is on fire at 7 a.m. NYPD comes in and still drunk. What the hell is going on? The second fireman said, what'd she say? First one said, she said she loves firemen.
These are the kind of women you're attracted to.
No more, not anymore. My mother's like, but these were my New York experiences from 2012 until 2018.
Okay.
And these are not like what I seek anymore, but the stories are ridiculous.
Mhm.
And so the to get you at the point you said to get back at, like, I put her in rehab because I felt like she was going to die, and she gave me her Amex. So I buy smoke detectors and I fix up the apartment. And then she wants me to pay back for that. Says I'm stealing because I bought smoke detectors. I said yes because I like to collect smoke detectors. And I found a former Manhattan District Attorney uh, lawyer to make them go away, because when you're dealing with people that were skull and bones at Yale, they're powerful people. So
Wow. And then how do you feel about what's going on in the world with the destruction, all of these earthquakes and tsunamis and fires and everything that's going on with the world? I mean, do you care about it as
I
Dick?
do, and I care. And one of the things that I read the most that hit me first when I was reading was the 2004 tsunami, because the sheer number of people that died. I mean, like 500,000 people, like instantaneously. And I was reading about it recently, a couple of months ago, and I was reading about the fault in Indonesia and where it hit, and like how it spread the way, and how there's like several waves, and people not knowing it was coming. And I remember going on vacation and not wanting to get near the water, like anytime that the water was receding, and having a dream. And it could have been a dream that it was on Christmas Eve when I believe that happened.
Wow, it was sort of
And
like
that I had a dream of looking down at a wave passing across an ocean, looking down. But I can't say that it wasn't influenced by listening to the news. But I've told my mother about that in 2004. And I don't know if there's something. So yeah,
and there was
I
also
think
an earthquake. So it was like
it was
massive.
massive. It was a massive two plates. It was the Indonesian plate, and it was two massive plates that subducted underneath and created the most devastating tsunami wave possible. I mean,
When that happened, Dick, I mean, were you touched by it? It really touched your humanity, your humanity, I presume, right? I mean,
and also like it made me realize also how fragile life is, and how maybe vulnerable I am,
yeah, wow.
as well as everybody.
So things like that really make you wake up and really, that's
Like
really,
everything could be gone in a second, all of us.
yeah. And it takes something like that to make you realize the fragility that we all we all live in. That's interesting. Wow. Okay. Fragile. That's interesting. And then and it's also maybe, just it kind of iterates your feeling of not being attached to anything or anyone. I mean, you're completely opposite of Margaret because she's attached to everything, but you are just not attached to anything at all, which in a way is good. But in another way, it makes you
And you can't.
cold,
It
alone
keeps.
person.
There's no growth there. Like,
There's no middle ground, right?
mhm.
Yeah, you're so cold and yeah. Interesting. What an interesting character you are as well. All right. Well, anything else you want to add?
um,
Oh, what? How did you get to Margaret's? Like, why were you so late? What happened?
um,
Mhm.
I made a mistake on paperwork, and got distracted with his secretary, but while she was fixing it.
Distracted, like how? Like,
While she was, I stood over her. I stood over her while she fixed it.
you're used to doing this, right? Do they ever complain about you in the office, or like you're the
We
boss?
don't have there's no we don't have we don't have an HR department.
Oh, you're the man. You're the king around there. Wow. Okay. So do they listen to you or they're out? I see. All right, Mr. Dig Lovett. Thank you so much for the interview. I'm happy to get to know you some more. You bad boy. Ciao. Now let me call. Thank you so much. That was so awesome. Now, are you ready for the next one? Do you want to take a 5 minutes, or should we just move into Ina?
Let's go on now.
I have a question for you. How long does this meeting end? Just because I have another schedule that is about to come 9:30.
Oh, okay. So let's just do
So-
your. You got it's supposed to end like I have the Zoom until for 3 hours, and I
3 hours. So every time we get together, we are gonna spend 3 hours.
in case we go over time or in case anybody needs to stay and talk some more. No, usually it's between 2.5 hours for a rehearsal. I mean, that's pretty fair because some rehearsals are longer than that. When we meet in person, but you don't really have to. I mean, just right now at the beginning, we're doing all this so we can get to know each other. But later on, you don't probably need to be all there all the time because you don't have that many lines. These
see.
guys are the ones that need to be that eat most of the time.
Mhm.
But yeah, so we can do yours. And I'm sorry, I wasn't planning to stay so long with everybody, but I just was so carried away. So let's do yours then, and then you can leave. And then
Okay.
so and if anybody, once we finish with Ina, you guys have any questions, we'll answer them, and then that's it. And then I'm finish working on the script and send it to you guys. So if you're ready, please tell me, your story. Where did you grow up? Where did you, as Rafaela, how did you wind up being the one who takes care of this family, and how did you become so wise and so spiritual? So, take us back, please.
I was born in Korea. I've been here in the state for more than 30 years. So this became my mother country. But however, as an expat, I always see myself, I'm living in between two worlds. One where I was born, one where I became myself. So I remember my childhood memories as a girl. I have this very kind of clear memories. I wish I could have been born as a boy or
Mm.
as a man. That memory kind of stayed with me. And then while I was growing up, and then I didn't know what it meant. But when I went to university, I finished my studies. I didn't quite understand what I was studying, so for some reason, I had to get out of my country. So I came to US as an international student, and I studied theology. And through that, it's quite. I came to realize that I grew up in a very conservative Christian family, and that the environment I was growing up, religious environment was growing up was very conservative in kind of even evangelical. And I was very deeply immersed myself into that. But when I came to US, the school I was studying religion and theology was deep in the South. But however, all the professors I ran into were Harvard and East Coast graduates, PhDs, and a lot of them were feminists. very liberals. So liberals in the middle of the Deep South.
Hmm.
And then I ran into this group of professors who were very liberal. And again, it was quite eye-opening. And then I came to understand what I was looking for. And I came to also realize that the field of the study, that if I finished my master's degree, that was not it was not this is not the field that I wanted to commit myself to for the rest of my life. Simultaneously, while I was finding my own self, and then I found myself into art and design. And I had to do something very creative because that was the desire I suppressed while I was growing up. So then I went to art school and to study architecture. Along the way, I think that something had happened that I had to desperately, I came into, I ran into a situation I had to really support myself desperately. So I could not finish my study of architecture, but I still loved art and I still loved music, classical music. But I found this Miss Margaret, and through my friends, and then I found that this the Margaret and then the family, and then she was an artist. She loved art, and then we felt immediately connected. Since then, I became I just I didn't I thought it was a temporary encounter, temporary part-time job, but it became a full-time, and then it has been more than 20 years. I've been staying um, with Miss Margaret and her family.
Okay, thank you. So when you were growing up, you grew up in Korea, right?
Yes,
And so Rafaela, when you met Miss Margaret and Mr. Bernard, Latin America, because that's where Mr. Bernard is, and that's where they met. So were you studying in Latin America?
no, I was studying in Texas,
Texas. And then
right? But my first encounter with Hispanic culture was Tex-Mex food.
oh, wow. Oh, okay. So then they met you when they came to the United States in Texas.
Yes, yes.
Wow, okay. And were they getting wealthy when you met them, or were they still like
I think they were quite a young couple, but they were a very up and coming couple. They were very stylish, I remember. And especially Miss Margaret, she was very beautiful, gorgeous. She was like striking, and the way she was extremely elegant. She stood out in the crowd.
and
And
she
then the couple was it's like handsome looking couple.
and they were good
Then
to you?
yeah, and also she was so humble at the same time.
Yeah.
And she was a very warm and caring person. And that even if she looks like she has a very regal quality about it,
Mhm. Yeah.
but when she talks with you, when she talked with me, and then it was such a warm, she was a very warm, down to earth person.
Yeah, that's definitely it. And I guess that's why you felt right at home with them, because they treated you like family, and you love art, so you understood who they were, right? And
Yeah, they their lifestyles. Oh, it's quite beautiful. She loves art, she loves classical music, and yeah, that the homes were very well furnished. She has a very good sense. So, yeah, it was
Yeah.
very beautiful. But they were definitely up and coming. It's so it was they were not that rich yet, but I think there was I can see this the couple was the breaking in,
Yeah.
and it's fast rising couple, very successful.
And being with them allowed you to travel a lot because you took care of the kids. I mean, you were there when the boys were born.
Yeah, I think that mostly I stayed behind them while they were traveling, took care of their kids, and then gave them a ride, and then making sure they just keep the homeworks and everything. I wanted to keep, uh, yeah, I was there to keep their routines.
Right. Yeah. And also I believe you were still able to study because they really believe in education and allowed you that. But so you were more than a housekeeper. You were not really, I mean, you helped them do the housekeeping, but you were more like their assistant, and you became so attached to each other, and you were so helpful with them. I mean, they couldn't be without you, and you were because you're not, you know, you're yourself. You're very elegant, and you love art, and it was just, I guess maybe that was the perfect match. You decided, you know, why you didn't want to leave them and do.
Yeah, I think that uh, I think it's the kind of the two things altogether. It's like it happened organically, and then it was very natural, and then I felt connection. Our connections were very natural, and then I felt very comfortable. I could trust him.
That's
At the
great.
same time, I needed money to support myself because I could not rely on anyone except me. I was here by myself in a different countries. I had to support myself. I wanted to become independent. I wanted to stay independent. That was the reason. But I knew that when I met Margaret, and she's very loyal and warm person. And then her the who she became an anchor, a sort of anchor to gave me a comfort and stability at the same time.
That's really wonderful. And why did you leave Korea? Why didn't you stay with your family? Was your family not supportive of your dreams, or was it too restrictive? Because you seem to be,
I think that they
yeah.
were not too restrictive, but I think that my family also was trying to survive, and there were a lot of struggles. But I think that stress, I think that the parents don't talk about that, but when parents are under stress, children feel that way. And then I think that unconsciously I felt that stress.
Do you have
And then
siblings?
I wanted, yeah, I do have two brothers, younger brothers. They're all in Korea.
Do you think they feel the stress too that you did? Did they
I
stay
don't
there?
think so, because I don't think so. I think that I was born with my own destiny and character. I just wanted early on, I was just a tomboy. I wanted to become, or I wanted to be born as a boy, not as a man and a girl in Korean society.
Yeah, and you
And
certainly,
that society didn't allow that, so I could not breathe, and then I had to leave. But I didn't know what I was doing. But now I think about it, I think that's the reason.
yeah,
I
yeah.
didn't really. I felt like I was misfit in that culture.
They didn't understand you. And your parents didn't understand you, and yeah, your
Maybe they were trying to understand me through their own terms, but so I was just too different from other Korean daughters.
and you're very strong. You have like this inner strength, and I guess like if you did you feel like if you stayed, y-
I
y-
don't see myself. I could have stayed.
you
Yeah, I cannot imagine myself. I could live. I could have survived in Korea.
Yeah, he was stifled.
Because I think there is a sense of freedom to be who I want to be
Exactly.
here in the state.
That's wonderful. And so how do you relate with, how did you relate with Mr. Bernard, and how did you feel when he died?
I felt like I felt like I lost one of my greatest friends. I think although I was aware, and then the Miss Margaret and Bernard, they do have their own marital issues. But for me, he was my boss. He was a very good boss. And then I appreciated his quality about him as a boss.
Right. And what about the boys? Did you get along with the boys, with Luis and Artie?
Artists, and I think the older Luis and Artie, I think they have a very different personality. So I had a hard time to be in the middle of these two extreme characters
They get
while they were growing up.
Yeah.
Yeah, Artie is free. He's a free spirit. He's very strong-willed. Luis, he's more traditional. He's very conservative, but he doesn't give you headache.
And
He's just a nice boy. And then so I had a hard time with Artie, but I understood what Artie wanted to do because I understand his nature as an artist.
And he is free-spirited too, because Artie also, he's seeking to find himself, his truth about himself too. That's kind of something that you have in common with him, because he's seeking his truth, and you know, he seeks to express himself through his art.
Mhm.
And I maybe that's something that you relate to also.
Mhm.
Do you paint? What kind of art do you like? Have you ever did anything in the art world?
I do a lot of hand sketches. So I do have a sketchbook I carry around. I sketch.
Nice.
But every time I get a break from my work, and then I go to museums and galleries. I love just sitting there and then encounter just one painting at a time. I stay there and I can spend hours just by just looking at one painting.
Wow.
I think that's my pleasure.
You really connect with it.
Yeah.
Mm.
And also after occasionally, and Miss Margaret, she loves painting, and then so we just sometimes we have the paintings we both like, and then we just happen to like, and then we talk occasionally, we talk about those paintings together.
Beautiful. And I see that Artie, once that now, you know, now that he's back, he was away for a long time, and you were, I guess, most of the time in the house. Sorry, but now that he's back, and excuse me, oh my God, how do you feel about his change, his personality, hey, bringing this boy and this girl and sleeping with them, and just why do you think he's so upset now and he's so disoriented? Is it because of the loss of his father, or what's going on with him?
I think that when I see that when the people face death of family members, all of a sudden all these hidden problems, like hidden weaknesses, they all uh become obvious. Like it's like everyone, including me, when I experienced my father's death, and all these hidden family dynamics and relationship and problems, we didn't know it was a problem. It all like emerged as a problem, and then into your eyes. I think the way the artist is behaving that way, I think that just encountering father's death, I think really triggered a lot of his unconscious things, the psyches that has been suppressed or unresolved. I think he's going through that phase now.
Excuse me, and a quick thing, and then his relationship with his mother, they were very close. What do you think happened there?
I think it's gonna be fine. I think that maybe they just both need the time away from each other instead of trying to reconcile or trying to communicate. I think the Miss Margot needs her own space and time, and Ari does it too.
But why do you think it was so hard when he came back? And I mean, what does he feel about what she's going through? Does he know what she's going through? Why is he so reluctant to let her stay in the house?
I think that for the first time, the artist felt like even if he loved his father, I think with father's departure, I sense that maybe he feels relieved and then he's experiencing newfound freedom
Hmm.
and a truly departure. And then to grow up into adulthood, departing the adolescence. So I think that he sensed this freedom and also he wants to become fully independent adult. I think that's where he is now. And
That's
then, yeah, simultaneously, I think that he's trying to take a break, maybe cut the tie, his adolescent tie with his mother also altogether. I think
wow.
that's where he is.
Yeah.
Maybe that's where the conflicts are. But at the same time, I see that Miss Margaret, she hasn't been able to sleep lately, especially after the Mr. Burner died.
And what
I
do you
think that there is no comfort around her. I think that she needs her children, but I think, especially Artie, I think he just the way he cope is it's just to try to take a break from his mother. I think that's what he's doing.
That's excellent. What do you think of Mr. Dick Love? Oh, sorry. Do you hear me? Yeah. What do you think about Mr. Dick Lovett? You've known him for a long time.
Yes, I to be honest, and he's I don't think that he's very helpful and for Miss Margaret. But I've seen him years as this family attorney, so I have a very little to say because he knows so much about this family and in a very practical in a very practical matter. So Miss Margot needs him and needs his company. But at the same time, I also am aware that there the relationship between Miss Margaret and Artie is more than business. I am aware of that, but um, but it's what Miss Margaret's choice. It's her choice now. So I have very little to say about her choice or her own choice.
Do you do you like him as a person or no?
I think he's a very friendly person, and then and also he's very witty. So I appreciate his kind of the lightness. But however, I find um, I'm not sure I could trust him.
So how do you feel like he's sometimes he's very rude with you and you kind of tease him a lot or like why do you do that? Why do you give him a hard time?
I think because he sensed that I see through him.
Mm-hmm.
So he knows that I am providing a sense of anchoring to Miss Margaret. I think that's so it's like that. I
Mm.
think maybe a bit of jealousy, maybe jealousy or insecurity, or maybe kind of a bit of feeling bad about who he is by just encountering a very different person, character.
Because he knows that you see right through him, right?
Yeah, maybe
And
I'm aware the way I look can be quite intimidating because I don't like bullshit.
yeah,
Musor.
and he's so used to manipulating women that he just can't get through to you. Like he can, you're
Yeah.
you tell.
So I know that the Artie is he just loves flirting with any all the women around him
Dick,
except
Artie,
me. He
yeah,
never flirted with me.
yeah. Artie is the son, but Dick Lovett is the
All
boyfriend.
right, the Dick Lovett. Yeah, Mr. Lovett. Yeah, Mr. Lovett. Yeah.
Because he
Sorry
knows that
to
you're not
confuse.
going to put up with his crap. And so he that's I like that idea that you're your heart anchor. So he knows that now she's got like a policeman
Yeah.
watching her, so he can't do whatever he wants. So you annoy
Right.
him purposely.
Yeah. I'm sure. I know it's him.
Yeah, and
I annoy him.
you
Yeah.
get a kick out of annoying him.
Yeah. So if he kind of treat me that way, I just let it go. Yeah, I don't even bother.
Yeah, it doesn't affect you. You just give it right back to him,
Mm.
and that's what upsets him because like shit, who did he call you? It calls you all these names, and you're like, interesting. And one last thing, how do you feel about what's going on in the world, the tsunami, and at this that year when you know when the father died and Artie took over the house and Miss Margaret became so depressed at that same time. There was just so much um, horrible things going on in the world and this huge earthquake and the tsunami and so many people died. I mean, what's happening? Does that affect you? And what do you think of all that? What's happening?
I I truly believe in climate change. So as a way of living, I'm trying to live very minimally and modestly, and without creating so much of without consuming or without creating so much trash day to day. That's how I live every day. But however, my small act, I'm at the same time, I'm pessimistic because this climate crisis is beyond, it's far beyond my own individual act. It has to happen globally. It has to happen more bureaucratic level by all this politics. But I am skeptics of politics, although I'm going to vote tomorrow.
Mhm. Good.
So I'm living with this optimism and pessimism at the same time every day. But what keeps me going, despite all these disasters and sadness, but life itself is a beauty in itself. Being able to breathe and live is a privilege and beauty.
And you're very spiritual and connected to the universe, to the earth. And why, how did you become spiritual? How did you get into this? And do you think that learning about spirituality and ourselves, do you think maybe you can help people to change their ways? Is that maybe how you think you could help, or no?
Um, no, because when I was growing up, uh, I was growing up in an environment, a religious teaching will tell you this is the gospel, this is the solution. If you do this, and then it's gonna happen that. So it's very didactic, pedagogical religiosity. But after I became more after I went through this my own internal transformation through my own search and through readings and through studies, I I found a different sense of spirituality. I think that really I care less about religiosity. I care more about spirituality. Spirituality is far more and beyond the religious institution or religious doctrines and teachings, but it becomes a very abstract. And then the boundary between and black and white and good and evil becomes a little bit more ambiguous.
Yeah.
And then it's difficult, and then choices become difficult.
And this helps you understand people. This helps you see right
Yeah.
through them.
So at this point, I just like to be who I am and live who I am, and then I can exist as my own presence.
Yeah.
But that I believe that energy can be emanated or transferred or shared
And it
with
certainly
other people.
with Miss Margaret, it certainly is. And it's like you're her, it seems like you were her angel. I mean, we all have an angel somewhere, and it seems like you were just here on this planet to help her out, to be her angel. And through art, there's so much that we can communicate through art. Art is an international language. It doesn't have any barriers and nothing. We all communicate through that. And I guess that's why.
Yeah, that's the power of art. I find the art and music, especially I love classical music too. Miss Margaret, she loves classical music, so we occasionally listen the same piece together.
Beautiful.
I think that art transcends the religion. That's how I believe personally.
Miss Raphael, thank you so much. You're so bright. You're so powerful, and I'm so glad you're with Miss Margaret and giving her the strength that she forgot she had, and she finds it.
I
And
think
it's
that she's gonna go through it. She will come out fantastically. I believe that.
the feminine power working together. That's what it is. Yeah, that's weird. All right, I'll let you go. I know you have things to do.
Okay, so sorry about this being my departure, but I will see you tomorrow. Thank you.
I've lost audio.
Goodness, I'm sorry. I keep touching this thing. I don't know what happens. Leave my hands like this. If there, write down if you had any aha moments. If you discovered something about yourself, your as the character,
Mhm.
that anything at all, write it down and bring it to the rehearsal. As start working with whatever it is that you discovered, and
Mhm.
to be part of you. I think my God, you guys are amazing, and thank you all for like really just being open and playing and on this journey to discover and bring these characters to life, because we are representing real people.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. It's also opening yourself up, being vulnerable, and it's a little scary, but it's supposed to be. It's part of the process, I think.
Exactly. And the thing is, especially for being on stage, it's this vulnerability when you open yourself up. I mean, you guys are just amazing. And if you can bring this, transcend this into the stage, um, and then just relate your vulnerability and all these hidden qualities of these characters, which a lot of them are aspects taken from real life people. These are, this is life and what goes
Life,
on. And
life
yeah,
imitating art, art imitating life, and the overlap in between.
exactly. That's exactly what it is. And the thing is, this is a small stage. It's very intimate. So you don't have to be, as big. And that's a big challenge in the theater, to be this vulnerable and this open and this natural, but to speak loud enough naturally that they can hear you.
To the back of the audience.
For the audience, your movements. It's not like film, because film is like this and it's
Everything.
Yeah. guys. But theater is your whole body, but your whole body does have to be in natural, the way you would for the stage, but the way you would for television. It's just that you just have to find the middle line to
There's
be
a
able
little less subtlety.
to come
It's
inside.
not as you don't have the subtleties to film.
You have to speak a little louder. So it's all in the voice. It's just, you just have to speak louder, and that energy has to be stronger. So everything that you're feeling and you're thinking and all of this, what we discovered about ourselves in these exercises, it'll just come out naturally, and be powerful.
Okay. Well, thank you.
Thank you so much. So I will finish, and I've got some great things for that I can continue. I don't want to add too much because we don't have time, but definitely for some other scenes, this is great. So let's continue the journey.
Okay. So I'll see both of you tomorrow.
Tomorrow, same time.
you.
I sent you a list of days. We could try to, we'll talk tomorrow. We can try to confirm on what days that we could actually meet, but I have Gloria's going to let us know.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much. Have a good night.
You too.
Thank
Bye.
you. Good night.
Kathleen, thank you.
Hi, Kathleen.
Good night.
Write down whatever you. Okay. All right.
Bye.
See you guys tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Bye.